Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is our year to shine. My name is Carolyn and we are continuing our journey through the book called Enough by Laurie McCammon, talking about so many things related to the word enough. I am enough, we are enough, we have enough, I have enough, and enough, just like enough is enough, right? And we talked about things that might be blocking us from getting what we want. So much to think about. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about getting the life you want. And we talked about this a lot in our Simple Abundance year. That's what the channel was about in the year of 2020. So check out some of those past videos if you're interested. So Laurie says, claiming the future you want is not about willpower or sacrifice. It's not about becoming your vision right away. It's about choosing a general path or direction. So that made me really think about our discussion last year of striving towards your true north and realizing that life is the journey, not the destination. I think it's interesting that she said claiming the future is not about willpower or sacrifice, because we did talk about determining what really matters and potentially sacrificing some stuff for what you really do want more. But this is about claiming the future that we want. So perhaps that's a little bit different. And she goes on to say something like, say you want to have like an energy efficient car, but you're on your way there. You don't have that in your budget yet. So maybe you make other choices like choosing non-GMO products and other things that are sort of along those same lines of sustainability as you're getting to the point of being able to purchase that car. What are your beliefs about what should and could be? That's also something to think about. We get bogged down when we overly focus on what we or others are doing or not doing right now. Change is a process. We must be patient and trust our beliefs to guide the pieces in place in the right timing for us. What is most important is that we are aware that it is our power to make a conscious choice. Once our thinking is freed from the never enough story, we've activated the enough story. We simply move forward in various areas of our lives as the way clears. There's no need to force or control how or where the enough future unfolds. It will happen. What is significant is that we have consciously, deliberately chosen it. We are on a new trajectory, one we can trust to bring us forward toward the world we want. So she is getting into the part of the book where she's talking about this new world and the movement of we versus me. And I have a kitty in the background scratching now that I started filming naturally. And she goes into the activism, and we talked about how each one of us can have a ripple effect on small things that we do. And I really like this statement about enough is a field. And she talks about how we talked about the essence, we talked about the our beingness, right? So she puts forth the idea that the enough idea is sort of this vibrational field. I'm adding the word vibrational because she says it's a field. So I'm going to read what she says. What I've come to understand is that enough is much more than an idea or a concept. It's a field of awareness that exists and can be tapped into by any of us. It is a field that has precise energy, feel, and a vibration. Okay, so she used vibration also. Just as you can feel, quote, tension so thick it could be cut like a knife. Yeah, have you ever felt that before? Or a prickling on the back of your neck that alerts you of danger. Enough has a feel of its own that is energetic, optimistic, joyful, empowering, freeing, and abundant. Remember in a recent video I said that the never enough story doesn't feel good, but the enough story feels good. And for me, it's more about like a safety sort of feeling, and that I don't have to worry. Yeah. So again, peaceful energy. And that's neat how she says connection and co-creativity. That would be for the enough world. If we're all going to be living in this way, then that would be about connection and co-creativity. So Laurie goes on to say, to me, enough is nothing less than my home signal. That's neat. I know this field is real because I've experienced it, worked with it, transmitted it, and I have seen others embody it as a group with minimal words or explanations. Enough is something we first and foremost feel in our bodies, and it differs from most other vibrational fields we experience because it is not a product of the mind, but it emanates directly from our hearts. There's so much in this enough message about living from the heart and instead of the mind. It just cracks me up because she's been sleeping all morning, and then now as soon as I'm doing a video, it's all about being frisky. Most people today are largely living in their heads. We've talked about this. Giving their attention to the never enough story, which is a collection of thoughts and beliefs such as worrying about not having enough time, money, or feeling secure or loved enough. These thoughts become our own personal storyline. And when we tell our story over and over again, we take it for truth. So I think out of a lot of the things in this book, it's really been about questioning, right? Like, what is real? Does scarcity exist, or is it something that's created by our society? So there's a lot of things I've thought about in reading this book that I really had never thought about before. The thoughts based in never enough come in a low vibration that is felt as stress, anxiety, fatigue, depression, insecurity, worry, powerlessness, and being in a rut. Yeah, doesn't feel good. That's what I said. Most people are so used to the vibration of never enough that they unconsciously identify it as their normal. Yes, I would agree. The danger comes when we identify so completely with the never enough vibration that we can no longer feel our home signal of enough. That is really cool. I really like that. It's our home signal. So it's like our authentic self, our authentic being, if we're going to connect it to simple abundance. The more of us who consciously attune to the enough field, even for brief intervals, the more potent it becomes and the easier it becomes to embrace it as our new, really the most ancient normal, because we would be returning to a different way of living for sure. How do we tend to the enough field and share it with others? We do it by, quote, securing our own oxygen mask before assisting others with theirs. Yes. Think about that when you're on the plane. They do always say that. So you have to fill your own cup before you can fill the cup of others. We've heard this message in so many different ways. Through Simple Abundance. I'm sure you've heard it through other self-help authors and lectures and things. We're building a new culture, a new norm, and this is made exponentially easier with companions who are in the same wavelength, sharing their enough stories. But even if you are doing this alone, you can keep an enough journal, tell yourself enough stories, and consider how the most painful experiences in your life would have been experienced differently if you had embraced the awareness that you are enough and the universe is supporting you in every minute that you have enough. I think that's an interesting thought, because a lot of painful experiences in life could be reframed. And if you did carry that enough feeling, yeah, that's pretty profound. And Laurie goes on to say that when we come together in groups, obviously we've heard that story about, or that saying about, like, never underestimate what a small group of people can do if they all are thinking together. I'm again reframing that because I'm paraphrasing because I don't have that exact wording. But it doesn't take a lot when there's a group of like-minded people. They can move towards great change. We are creating a new kind of activism with our choices because never enough has been a human operating system for so long. Enough is a vibration that we actually choose now. For a time, we must remember to claim our enoughness over and over again. So remember I said when I was thinking about some thoughts that I'd been having since reading this book, that I questioned when we get to the point of feeling like there is enough, would we be concerned about getting back to the never enough point? So that's similar. But I like how she says, yes, it is a choice. So you realize that they're both there, but you're choosing the enough story. So that sort of answers my question about whether or not she was going to address that question that I had. The greatest service we can give the planet right now is to keep our energy and consciousness clean and clear. When we refuse to play never enough games and to claim our enoughness, it should be fun and rewarding because we're living purposefully and serving the greater good with our inner gifts. We are co-creating new enough ground for others to stand on. This is quite different from either falling for or fighting against the old never enough structure. So it's a conscious choice to choose the enoughness versus the never enough story. How do you feel about making a new world where everyone feels like they're enough or they have enough? Do you feel like it's possible without changing society entirely? I think we've talked about so many things in this book as far as like choosing who you hang out with, keeping your vibration high from this entry here today, that I suppose your frame of reference could be really enough if you surround yourself with enough people, no pun intended with the word enough in there, but if you choose wisely in your frame of reference and your experience and the people you interact with, because maybe the larger world wouldn't be so apparent. I'm not going to read the part of the book where she talks a little bit more about, I'll just mention it, sharing your enough story and the evidence of enough. She mentions things like using social media to share stories of things that prove that there is sustainability and that people are giving and coming from their nurturing side and helping others, and that the idea of that we are all one as well. So social media, you could be in those situations like I mentioned in another video where it's like you're with friends and they're being negative or they're just complaining about how they don't have enough, and you could be the devil's advocate, although it would be like an angel advocate in that case, to share your story of enough or your frame of reference of how you came to feel that, or focus on the fact that there is enough. So be thinking about some of the ways that, like, if you really want to start living this way, some of the ways that you could affect others positively with the message of there being enough. I know for me, I'm going to personally be trying to think more about there being enough, like focusing on that. And I told you already about, in terms of money, like some of the things that I know, or having supplies in my house and things. And I was thinking about the caution closet too, and how we stored away food and things like that. So that was also a preparation for having enough, even if something dire happens. So be thinking about some changes that you can make, and be thinking about the fact that enough is that energetic vibrational field. Yeah. And you're aware of it. You know how it feels. So if you start to feel yourself going towards that stress and the never enough story, then realize it. Just like, oops, yep, I'm going to that. I'm going up the stream, like I said, with the upstream and downstream thoughts. And just try to trust that there is enough. and surround yourself with some people that also feel that way. I'm on board. I'm on board. I hope that you've been enjoying the Enough book. Let me know what comments you might have. Annabelle's here with me now. Hope you're having a great day, and I will see you soon on the next video. Definitely leave me a comment and say hello. I love hearing from you guys. All right. Bye-bye.